Shalom, call halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakal Kadash. Double honors to our elder apostles from GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity. I'm the brother Yashawan, and this is the World War III Daily Update. All right. Now, we're going to start this one with a little history. All right. And why World War III is about to take place. All right. Now we have some pictures of slavery, right? And they're calling these people the African Americans, all right? Which they're not Africans at all. They just happen to be on the continent of Africa when the true Africans grabbed them up, right? Oh, well, you sold your own people into slavery. No, the Africans knew that we were in exile in their land, okay? There's a difference between the Africans who come from Noah's son Ham and the other black people, so-called black people, that look like them, all right, who come out of Noah's son Shem, which is where you get the term anti-Semitic, which is actually anti-Shemitic, all right? Now, Moses, right, of the Exodus. Moses was an Israelite, but he was sitting next in line to the throne of Egypt, and the Egyptians are black African people during that time, okay? So-called black, all right? So they look alike. And the Israelites, the people that you see right here, being taken into slavery, right? They were the slaves in ancient Egypt as well to the African people, the Egyptians. All right, so this is a little understanding before we get into why World War III is taking place, all right? Now that we have that, okay, so right now we will go to why those people were taken into slavery, all right? Why? Because God is a man of war. Let's get that real quick. Man of war. Should have said God. God is a. Of course, it's not going to just come up. So we have to go like this. So the devil will try to get you. All right, this is Exodus 15 and 3. Maybe I should get it in a Bible Hub. Let's keep it copacetic, okay? King James, Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord, Yahweh, is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. He's a man of war, okay? Now, let's go to Deuteronomy 1, all right? Here's the understanding of why these people went into slavery, into captivity, all right? Because there was a war, all right? Now, God made a deal with his chosen people, the children of Israel, all right? Now listen close. Deuteronomy 1 and 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel and Laban and Hazeroth and Dizahab. Okay? So Moses was talking to his people, Israel, after he led them across the Red Sea. All right? The whole book of Deuteronomy is about that. It's about Moses dealing with his people. Okay? Now we'll go to 6 or 7 because that's going to let you know who the Most High is dealing with. Okay? 7 and 6. For thou, who? For thou art an holy people. Who? Thou. Who is thou? Israel. Okay? What does the word holy mean? Separate. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power, thy God. All right? The Lord thy God hath chosen thee, who's thee? Israel, to be a special people unto himself. Are all men created equal? No. Above all people. He chose you to be a special people unto himself. Who? Israel. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. You were created to be special above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And they don't want you to know that. That's just the truth. So we're still talking about the nation of Israel, okay? Now we're going to get to the covenant or the agreement, right, that God made with his people. He made an agreement with them that if they would follow his commandments, that he would elevate them to be on top of everybody, which is why they were created. But the agreement came with a caveat. It came with, if you do this, I'll do this. If you don't do this, I'll do this. All right? Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Now let's read that, okay, in the NIV. If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow his commandments I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all nations of the earth. This is the agreement that he made with the children of Israel. Okay? Now, let's stay there. You will be blessed in the city, blessed in the country. The fruit of your womb will be blessed in all these blessings. Your basket, okay? The Lord will grant that the enemies who rise up against you, that's called war, will be defeated before you. They will come at you from one direction, but flee from you in 7. These are some of the blessings that if they would have kept their end of the bargain, they would have that. But guess what? Go down here to 15. Curses for disobedience. However, if you do not obey the Lord your God and do not carefully follow all his commandments and decrees that I am giving you today, all these curses will come on you and overtake you. All right? Let's go back down to this. The Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemy. When you go to war with your enemies, you ain't going to win. They're going to come. You will come at them from one direction, but will flee from them in 7, and you will become a thing of horror to all kingdoms on the earth. Okay? So you're not going to win any wars. All right? And your enemies are going to take you, they're going to defeat you. And what do you have? When you get defeated in war, what happens? You get led into captivity, into slavery. Okay? They take you prisoners of war. All right? Now, stay with me because we're explaining why World War III is going to happen. All right? So, because the children of Israel didn't keep their agreement with God, they can't win no wars. Right? Let's get some more. The foreigners who reside among you will rise above you higher and higher, but you will sink lower and lower. They will lend to you, but you will not lend to them. They will be the head, and you will be. Who's the tail? Who lives in the ghetto? Who lives on the barrio? In the barrio, who lives on the reservation? Okay? And all these curses will come on you, and they will pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed because you did not obey the Lord your God and observe his commandments and decrees. So apparently, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you didn't honor your agreement with God. It said, they will be a sign. All of these curses will be a sign and a wonder to you and your descendants forever. Meaning, guess what? How will we be able to tell who the children of Israel are? Well, because these signs, these curses are a sign to determine who these people are. Are these the Africans? Did this happen to Africans? 47, because you did not serve the Lord your God joyfully and gladly in the time of prosperity, therefore in hunger and thirst and in nakedness and dire poverty will you serve the enemies the Lord sends against you. When they come and take you down in a war, okay, you're going to be their slaves. He will put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you. Who is he? Your enemies right here that God sent against you. All right. So why are we in slavery? Because we didn't keep the commandment. That's God put us there. All right. And who did he put above us? Our enemies. All right. They took us into captivity after they destroyed us. In 70 AD, the Romans came in. We were in Israel. They came in and took us down. The Assyrians came in and took us down. The Babylonians came and took us into slavery. The Egyptians rose up and put us in slavery because we weren't keeping the commandments. Okay? So our enemies, the Africans, are our enemies. They're not us. They're the ones that rounded us up. Okay? They rounded us up and handed us over to our enemies. All right? And we understand that. So the yoke of iron did not happen to Africans, it happened to Israelites, right? Because we lost those wars, okay? Yoke. Look, yoke of iron. Who's this with the yoke of iron? They want to hide it now. Look at this. This is not an African. The Bible said this is going to happen to Israelites, okay? All right? Now, when you go into war and you take prisoners of war, right? Those people are in slavery. They're slaves. Okay? He will put a yoke of iron on your neck till he has destroyed you. Then, right here, 64, then the Lord will scatter you among all nations from one end of the earth to the other. Okay? So this is what happened, not to no damn Africans. All right? You're not an African. This is proving that you're the children of Israel. All right? Because this didn't happen to nobody else, especially this. 68. The Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt. Okay, Egypt means slavery. Who went into slavery on ships? Okay, when it says send you back to Egypt, we just walked out of Egypt. All right, this Egypt here is not talking about ancient Egypt. It's talking about a new slavery. How did we get over here to the United States? In ships. How did the North American Indian arrive over there on the other side of the world? In ships. So they went into slavery in ships too. Okay. There will offer yourselves for sale. This is bullshit right here. Let's get this. Offer yourselves. Sell yourselves. That's stupid. Offer yourselves. Sell yourself. This is bullshit. Okay. And there, where? In Egypt. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall get you out of that situation, shall buy you, shall redeem you, okay? All right, so who did that happen to? American slavery? It happened to the Israelites, all right? Why? Because they didn't keep God's commandments. Now, all of this has to do with World War III, okay? Now, are we still in slavery? Oh, you're not in slavery no more. Well, let's see what the Bible says. All right. This is Baruch 3. Behold, we, Israel, are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from them. So we're still in slavery to this day. All right? We're still scattered here. All right? Here we are. We're in these different places. Right? Now, even though God is the one that sanctioned this, all right, the people that actually did it, right, they took that shit way too far. There are rules to this thing. Okay? There's rules to this. Without sanctuary. There's rules to this thing. You can't just be burning bodies and cutting off penises and ears and cutting genitals and look at this. When you hear about the true stories of what these people did, you forwarded the affliction, all right? You took it too far, and for that you must be punished. So they're going to hide this. helped forward the affliction. Zechariah 1 and 15, I am very sore displeased with the heathen. Who are the heathen? The other nations that are at ease. Why are you at ease? Because we're your slave. For I was a little displeased, for I was but a little displeased, this is God. And they helped forward the affliction. Took it too far. All right. Now, all right, we will go to, let's go back here. Let's go to Joel now. So now we're in the time that we're going to be set free. Okay. Now, how? How are we going to come out of captivity? There has to be a war because these nations are not going to release us, right? They're not going to show mercy on us. They want us to stay their slaves. Matter of fact, what they're doing right now is they're trying to put us back in hardcore chattel slavery. That's what they want to do. All right? Because we are their possession. All right, so this is Joel 3. Yes, 3 and 1. Yes, in those days and at that time, what days? These days, in this time, when I restore Judah and Jerusalem from captivity, all right? We are yet this day in our captivity. Well, God says he's going to get us out of this thing, okay? How is he going to do that? He's going to gather all nations. I will gather all the nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. There will I enter into judgment against them, against who? All the nations concerning my people. There will I enter into judgment against them concerning my people, my inheritance Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations as they divided up my land. Okay? They have cast lots for my people. What? They sold them. They threw dice to decide which of my people would be their slaves. They have cast lots. They have cast lots. Let's see. Is that all? They gambled to see who would get my people. Let's see. Good enough. So we're still in that slavery. Okay? They traded, bartered, boys to obtain prostitutes and sold girls for enough wine to get drunk. All right? These are the things that was going on. And this, okay? These things. All right? And for that, you have to pay. All right, let's go back to Joel. So God is gathering the nations, right? See that word nations? Right here. I will gather all nations. Right here it says, I will gather the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat, or I will gather all the armies of the world down in the Middle East. Why? There will I judge them for harming my people. How's he going to judge them? He's going to destroy them. All right? And I will enter into judgment with them there. Okay? And will plead with them. And there I will deal with them. I'm going to deal with you. Okay? Where's put them on trial? There will I put them on trial. What happens after a trial? You're judged guilty. Then there's a sentence. Okay? So God is setting up an ambush for all the nations of the world for what they did to his people. All right? And what's going to happen? They're going to be down there fighting amongst each other, thinking that World War III is jumping on. Then this. Then this. I like this picture better. What do we see? Out of nowhere, these people are going to be fighting each other. Then this. Out of nowhere. Okay? Then the ambush. All right, let's get the ambush. It's Revelation 12 and 7. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. All right? New Heart English Bible. There was a war in the sky. Right? There's an ambush. They're being led, gathered down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, all the armies of the world. And then out come these things. To do what? To destroy the armies of the world. Okay? Second Esdras. This is the great multitude. This is Second Esdras 13 and 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together down in the valley of Jehoshaphat a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Well, this is the man coming out of the sea right here. And the angels that came with him. All right, let's get it. All right. Start at the top. 13 and 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. Now the man is about to come out of that sea. And I beheld, and lo, that man, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, right, waxed strong with who? With the thousands of heaven, with the angels. So the angels had their wings, and the one you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahushua, he had his wing. His chariot was so big, they thought it was a great mountain. But I beheld, this is 6, I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. Okay? She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. All right? But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. They fought anyway, even though they were scared shitless. All right? This is the war in heaven. They got ambushed. They got gathered together down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Then out of nowhere, all right, come the chariots of Israel. Okay? Now, here's what happened. They were afraid to fight and fought anyway. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his. So Jesus saw the one you call Jesus, whose name is Yahweh Shah. I'm saying Jesus so that you understand. Neither lifted up his hand, nor held any sword, nor any instrument of war. What it's doing right there is explaining the weapon systems on these chariots. This guy, this is called a stealth what? Bomber. He's got weapons. They got weapons. Let's see what happens. And lo, as he saw the violence, as Jesus saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. It's saying it was amazing the weapon systems that these chariots had. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, this is explaining a laser, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. They got caught up in an ambush and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was perceived but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So that's what happened. They got caught up in an ambush and got caught up out there because they couldn't hang. All right? Now, but wait a minute. What about the prisoners of war? What about the POWs that are still here in America? Okay? What about the POWs, though? Well, let's get the POWs. Start at 11. Revelation 11 and 11. But after 3 days and a half, the breath of life from God entered the two witnesses. That's talking about the whole house of Israel. More than that, it's talking about the elect of Israel. And they stood upon their feet, and fear fell upon those who saw them. Okay? And the witnesses heard a loud voice from heaven saying, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud as their enemies watched them. Okay? This is the rescue, the extraction, if you will, of the POWs. Okay? Come up hither, and they went up to heaven in a cloud. What cloud? This cloud. This is a cloud. All right? When Jesus comes back, he's coming back in the clouds, is he not? Let's show the second coming. Behold, he is coming with clouds. Oh, there they are. Plural clouds. All right? And every eye shall see him. Every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn because of him. They're going to be scared shitless too. He's coming back in the clouds. All right? This is some Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Psalm 104. Let's get King James here. Okay. 104 and 1. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord, my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a garment, who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. There's the clouds right there. Jesus is coming back. The angels right? The thousands of heaven are coming back in the clouds. Psalm 103:21. Bless ye the Lord, all ye his hosts. Who are his hosts? Yes, praise the Lord. This is New Living Translation. You armies of angels who serve him and do his will. These are the angels piloting these chariots. God's army. Okay? You armies of angels. Okay? Go back to Revelation. What do armies do? They war. 12:7. Then a war broke out in heaven, which is the sky. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels fought back. Boom. Right? They got their ass kicked. And then the extraction. All right? They rescued the POWs. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies were all around them when they got beamed up. All right? Why? Because they were being extracted. All right? This is World War III. All right? Now there's no more armies. The elect of Israel got beamed up. Okay? They got beamed up into the chariots. So the mission is complete now. There's a little cleanup work to be done. What happened after they ascended up into heaven in a cloud? And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld it. And the same hour was there a great earthquake. Well, they fired the nuclear missiles on each other. And the 10th part of the city fell, and in the great earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And the remnant, who's the remnant? They're the ones that just got saved. I'm saved. You don't know what it means to be saved. What were they saved from? The nuclear missiles, the great earthquake. All right? And the remnant, the ones who were saved, how are they saved? They got beamed up. They ascended up to heaven in a cloud. Oh, that's the rapture. There's no such word as rapture. You got to be able to explain it. All right? They ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. They got extracted right before the missiles hit and destroyed this place. Okay? That's the reason for World War III. They're being led into an ambush. All right? Why? Because it's time for us to be restored to our rightful place. Joel 1:1. In those days and at that time, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, when I restore the prosperity, we're talking about the kingdom of heaven here. When I restore the fortunes, when I restore Judah and Jerusalem from being slaves with all their enemies that got them down here and shooting them in the back and redlining and making them work for nothing, can't get a job, locking you up in jail. All right? Hey, we're POWs right now. We are yet this day in our captivity. Okay? Now, we could go to Deep Journal and see what has happened in the last few hours, but pretty much, okay, this is all World War III. The armies of the world being gathered down into the Middle East. Okay? Breaking explosion in Iran's capital office immediately. Immediately what? Immediately after nuclear threat. You think them nukes ain't coming? All right. So this scenario is playing out. All right. In front of everybody. Oh, the nuclear, show me the nuclear missiles in the scriptures. Show you the nuclear missiles. Zechariah 14 and 12. And this will be the plague which the Lord will, which the Lord strikes all, a nuclear strike, all the people who have warred against Jerusalem, against the Israelites. Their flesh, let's get consumed away. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Smite means kill. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. It's called a nuclear strike, that nuclear fire. All right? What do I want here? Isaiah 56. Let's see. I keep getting it wrong. Isaiah 54. Here's your nuclear. Isaiah 54 and 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth coals in the fire. What does a blacksmith do? He creates weapons of war. Behold, I have created the smith. The Most High created the scientist that figured out how to make these nukes, that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have also created the waster to destroy. All right? That's that lake of fire. All right? All right, so today is Friday. I hope that you got something out of it. We hope that the elect were edified. We'll see you next week for more of the World War III Daily Update. Until then, shalom.